Welcome back, listeners, to the Mindful Living podcast. I'm your host, Sana, as always, present here. And today I am bringing a conversation where we're going to talk about something that, we have heard and we are hearing it constantly. But then, honestly, really we slow down enough to examine being present. I mean, it sounds simple, like be here, be now, live in the present, stay in the moment, pay attention. But then for many people, presence is not calm or comforting. It can feel unfamiliar, it can feel chaotic, uncomfortable, or even unsafe. For some of us, being present means feeling things we spent years learning how not to feel. For others, it means noticing how disconnected we have actually been. My guest today, she brings a perspective that is grounded, lived, and it's also deeply human. So she's a therapist whose professional path grew directly from her own need for healing. She's also a cult survivor. She entered that environment before she could even speak and remained in it throughout her childhood. And over the last 3 decades, she has worked not only to heal herself, but to help others who live with dissociation, trauma, and disconnection from the body find their way back. And let me tell you, listeners, what stands out about her work to me is this idea that the body already knows, that we already know the way back to ourselves. We just do not always listen. So today we are not here to romanticize healing, listeners. We are here to talk honestly about what presence actually takes, why it can feel so hard, and what it looks like when we stop fighting our own inner signals. So, listeners, meet my incredible guest, Lou Lachman. So, Lou, welcome to the Mindful Living, and I'm really, really honored to have you here.
Thank you so much, Sana. I'm so glad to be here. I love the intro. It was just really beautiful. There's something about being with the body and really listening to what our soul's teachings that's kind of the real path to freedom, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. And I believe that more than just like sharing a checklist or maybe this is the way, that is the way. I think people find it more relevant and they listen when the person who is sharing has gone through something similar. They have their own experiences,
Yeah.
and I think it kind of translates very beautifully in the way they would share their insights and experiences. So I think, Lou, this is really going to be a very enriching and exploratory kind of conversation here. But to begin with, one thing that you have said is um, the truth is we always know the way back to ourselves, but then we often do not listen.
Yeah.
Now, it can be a bit confronting, and it's so simple, but a bit confronting. So, what is mean by that in a real life? Yeah, sure.
Well, what I want to say, Sana, is that it's really important to be quite kind to yourself. Because it's when we're hard on ourselves, oh, I really should do this, I really should do that, and we override what's going on inside, either physically or emotionally, that
Mhm.
things get tough. So when I say listen, I mean listen very deeply. And and for me, I couldn't do that. So I want to really honor all the people that find that really difficult to do, and acknowledge that, yeah, it feels impossible. For me, it was so impossible that I didn't even know that there was something I needed to do. Does that make sense? Like,
Mm.
I thought I was spacey and emotional. I didn't know that I could use an energy tool or something that would kind of connect me and balance me. A bit like yoga does, but holding the body in particular ways, holding particular, chakras or acupressure points can begin to align and comfort the system so that it creates a bridge to be able to listen. So I didn't know that I needed to listen. I just thought I was spacey and emotional, right? I didn't know that there was something I needed to do. But once I did it, then I had peace. So, and I'm not saying, I mean, I'm not saying it gets rid of all of the trauma, but
Mhm.
the idea that you can do something that can calm the system and connect you at the same time. It's it's a magical practice that we all have the ability to do.
Exactly. I think that's the keyword here. Not keyword, but the essence here that we all have that ability to do. Like
Mm.
usually, in fact, I also used to think that only people who have that privilege or who are enlightened or
Yeah.
uh, who have special gifts, they only can do this. But we all have that ability to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's paying attention to ourselves. It's paying attention to what's right for us. What's that thing that
Mhm.
works for us, in each moment. It's paying attention to that too. And then in the healing journey, what what tools work for us? Do we need to do a lot of writing? Do we need to do a lot of yoga? Do we need to do a lot of swimming? Like it's it's listening to that. And we do in some ways because we'll go to a yoga class or we'll go to a meditation or we try to, kind of be on our path and take care of ourselves.
Mm.
But we also fight ourselves, right? And colonialism and patriarchy are really good at that, right? Oh, you really should do this and you really should do that and you really don't know what you're doing. That's that's. Whereas if we pay attention to the rhythm, say of a female body, for example, we
Mm.
there's time of the month where we need to slow down, and that should be honored, right? If we're practicing honoring our bodies and our responses.
That's true. That's true. And um it never happens with force. uh in fact, when we talk about education or teaching, it also doesn't happen with force or with one singular lens to look at everything, because
No.
everyone is different. I mean, even
Yeah.
um, scientifically or physically, the basic elements are same, but then the energy is different. The soul is different, different experiences, whether it's the childhood experiences or in your adulthood. So there cannot be a singular lens here to look at it.
Yeah, that's true. But what I love about kind of the way that my work has developed, this embody freedom work that I do, is
Mhm.
that I'm always listening to where the client is. So I use kinesiology and ask for guidance along the way. So there's different practices that are very simple and in some ways might be universal. Like there's one heart holding where you talk to the body and talk to the parts inside and kind of say, "Hey, we're okay. What do you need? What are you worried about?" And there'll be a link in the show notes for this podcast. But the important thing about any practice is, well, what I have found anyway, is that we do what is universal is our energy system, and we can use it to calm and connect. And that provides this bridge into the body, into kind of that peace, into creating peace, which is
Mm.
seems to be like one of our big tasks in life, doesn't it? How do we actually arrive in this moment? How do we actually feel at ease being here and are just here without all the chatter and all the future past self-criticism stuff going on?
Yeah, yeah.
And
But
well, what went through my head was just like the masters have always said, it's practice.
Yeah.
practice, do your meditation practice, do your yoga practice, and I would just take it further. Clean your field, address the toxicity in your field, your body, your soul, your mind. Take care of it and just keep going. Keep taking care of it. This is your journey, your life, your soul, your teachings, your learning, and we're interconnected too.
Mm.
But, well, maybe not, but, and we have to figure out each of us need to figure out our own journey and our own way of embodying that freedom and becoming present.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, Lou, also a kind of a, you know, because you work a lot with dissociation and people who feel disconnected from their bodies.
Yeah.
Is being present always the goal, or are there times when not being fully present is actually protective?
Sana, I love your question. It's so beautiful. The reality is that dissociation protects us, and sometimes we need it, right? There's many, many times where the strategies we had as children and young people helped us survive, right? So that's really important, and that could be necessary now too. But
Mm.
often we're running a pattern of dissociation that kind of is saying, reacting to different things like a child. Okay, I'm not safe now because I see a man, for example, right? Instead of, actually, I know I'm in a safe place. I know this man is safe. I know that I'm okay, right? And so beginning to talk to the body and how it reacts to things can be really helpful. Because when we stay in that frozen place, we cannot act. So there's a few different ways that we react kind of immediately, isn't there? There's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Fawn, people don't always know about the fawn one, but it's when you're very placating.
Uh-huh.
So, and when we're in that kind of state, we're actually not in our frontal lobe, we're in our kind of primordial brain instead. And in order to think and function and live a life, we need to be able to think. So an energy practice, for example, that you could use is to put your hand on your forehead, right?
Mm.
Which brings the blood back into your frontal lobe. And that's something we do normally. When we're worried about something, when we're shocked, and our um our blood and attention in our body goes into um our that primordial brain, we put our hand on our forehead, right? Naturally. And when we're shocked about something, we put our hands on our chest sometimes too, right? If it
Yeah.
touches our heart, we put our hands on our chest. And I would just say, hold those a little longer, listen a little more. And that is what brings us into being here, right? So dissociation is really, really useful, and it really saves us. And we need to do practices that bring us into the moment as adults in the world, so that we can actually, have work, have relationships, take care of children, and be present instead of being somewhere else. But that doesn't mean it won't be useful sometime. It doesn't mean it won't be useful at another moment, if you have a big shock or whatever. But there's a lot of it that's a child, like a 2-year-old or a 5-year-old that's kind of running our lives and taking us out, which isn't very helpful.
100%. Isn't it? I think it's important because conventionally, like, the wellness conversations that we have mostly imply that if you're not, if we are not present, we are feeling.
Right.
If what the tool or the channel is giving us a solution, if it's not working on you, nothing else can work.
Yeah.
And I think uh,
That's not
what
fair.
yeah, what I realize is, it's more about respecting a respect for our nervous system. Like,
Yes.
the presence, it has to be negotiated, not forced upon or demanded.
Yeah. 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 It's absolutely that. I mean, the whole thing about trauma is that it's too much, too fast, overwhelming the system, right? And so our remedy to that needs to be kind and slow and measured and paying attention to how it is for us instead of trying to be a cookie cutter, trying to fit ourselves into that cookie cutter. That's not okay. We're all different at different moments, and we have to somehow attend to that and respect it.
Absolutely okay. Um, and I want to kind of introduce a bit of a challenge here, Lou, because
Mm.
mindfulness, it is often presented as the answer to everything. But as we had discussed in, like, previously, like in the previous question or answer, like for trauma survivors, mindfulness can sometimes increase distress. So, do you think that mindfulness has been oversimplified or even misused in mainstream wellness culture?
Yes. I think it has.
Okay.
I think
Yes.
it has. I think you're coming from India, Sana,
Yeah.
and I think of India as kind of the home of so much of these practices, so much of them.
Mhm.
You know, there's such a rich and ancient practice around awareness there. And mindfulness seems like this cute little title that people have thought up. I don't mean to belittle it, but it
Yeah.
seems belittling of the ancient practice, right? Because kind of like, oh, mindfulness, oh, I'll just do a little tiny bit. And it's not that that's not useful because people, are people and they're in pain and they do need, like a small thing that they can do that will bring them closer to peace and allow them to survive. That's true. But it's it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and that's my concern with mindfulness is that um well, I guess we're all different, and I guess mindfulness can be useful for many. I notice that I haven't been very attracted to mindfulness. I've been attracted to, kind of meditation and yoga practice and embodiment work and, kind of deep work that releases trauma
Mhm.
so that we can be. But that's my journey too. So mindfulness seems a little trite.
Mhm.
And maybe I should study it and it will open my mind. But that's been my view of it. Um it doesn't and yeah, and at the same time, I know people that have found it really useful and helped them to be able to put one toe in the water and
Mhm.
step into being aware that if they listen, that they will feel some peace. If
Yeah.
they stop, yeah, and listen. So I can say that it's good in that way. Did I answer your question?
No, I think it absolutely makes sense because I think something can also be said for yoga, like
Yeah. Yoga is a trauma practice, an energy practice, no doubt. And homeopathy as well. You know,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Ayurvedic practices are too.
they are. But I think somewhere in all this, uh, uh, hustle or this chaos, I think the main essence of these ancient practices or modalities, they are kind of losing their essence, maybe intentionally or unintentionally. But then um, I absolutely agree with you, because that's something I also have been lately observing or realizing, that not just for the sake of being it performative, or okay, I'm doing yoga, so everything is good with me. No, what exactly is the main intention behind, whether it is working for you or not, whether that is something that is going to help you at least, not bypass trauma, or forget everything, or run away from all the problems or the challenges, or the actual kind of the harsh reality of your daily life, irrespective of wherever the person is. That is something that we kind of we need to come back to that
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of an energy practice. Whether
Yeah.
it's heart holding or head heart holding, or yoga or pranayama, like the it's about alignment, Sana. It's so much about alignment. When our energy system is aligned and we've cleaned out all the stuff, and we feel that alignment with the earth, sky, and our system is at peace.
Mm,
And I think that's like the best secret. I mean, like, and I'm glad that we're talking about it, because we need everybody to know about it so it's not a secret. Because when we have peace, then we know we're
mm,
interconnected. We know that, we're part of the earth and each other. And that kind of peace is something we need badly right now.
yeah. And I think one more thing that kind of um, the and especially related to um, ancient practices, or maybe uh, maybe something that is sacred or spiritual,
Yeah.
not from a religious point of view, but something that is unanimously believed, respected, revered by everyone, whether
Yeah.
any community or any place, that I believe it shouldn't be always interpreted in the modern way or changed. It should remain in that original way, because in that whole interpretation, it kind of loses its essence. So not
Tell me more about what you mean, Summer.
so for example, I was looking at this video about Mount Kailash. um so there are a lot of kind of um, not rumors per se, but a lot of belief that there is a kind of a secret civilization within it, or it is a very, because there haven't been many anyone, I think, except any one person who could climb that mountain, although it is at a very lower height than Mount Everest. But then Mount Kailasa, I think uh, it is worshipped, it is sacred
Mm.
for people in the Hindu, in the Buddha, in Jain, and so many religions.
Okay.
And I think and that's why when many of the mountaineers, they have said that something that is worshipped and sacred,
Mm.
it would be against the people who respect and worship that mountain for me to climb on that. So
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I think whether it's a sacred
Yeah.
modalities or channels or any belief system which is unanimously worshipped, I think
Yeah.
let it be like that only.
I think that's really beautiful. And I
Mhm.
think that's reflective of what of this conversation and what we were talking about because we're interconnected, and like we are part of what people call God. We are all part of that universal energy. And when we, as in unison, are worshiping a mountain, then it's protected by that energy. And so it might not be something you want to climb. Or if you did, and the all the universal energy, all the energy around that might might do something to your climbing, like it might not work very well because
Mm-mm.
there's so many people holding, holding sacred that space. Yeah. I'm not sure what would happen with someone trying to climb it. I'm just not sure what would happen. I don't want to say what would happen, but I'm not sure that it would be wise to climb a mountain that is
Yeah, because
not sacred.
because it's out of the respect, for that community or the people of that particular religion or maybe group that, and I think similarly, people respect nature like trees or forests or land,
Mm.
which is, which may be the source of their ancestral
Mhm.
almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, it shouldn't be
Yeah.
touched. It shouldn't be,
No, but
it's not something to conquer upon.
no, but colonialism has made a joke of so many sacred sites, and so like,
Mhm.
and even Christianity has done the same, right? Because they have, where there was a temple to the Great Mother, they've put a church,
Mm.
you know, and where there was a great festival of light, they've put a Christmas, like, so uh there's something there's something about our energetic tie to the land that needs to be found again for a lot of people. Kind of the living in cities, and there's ways in which, and the colonialism itself that has kind of, tried to erase what is sacred, in my view anyway. Um and medicinally too.
Mhm.
Both Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine are ancient. They're ancient. And how are they dismissed? How are they dismissed by allopathic medicine? It's incredible to me. It's a profit making thing that's more important than humans. It doesn't make sense to me. But I think it's an example of the work that we need to do to come back to presence and come back to embodiment and come back to our soul's journey, which is kind of finding what's sacred and staying with what's sacred.
Mm. Sure. Superb. So Lou, before we wrap wrap the conversation up, of course, if listeners they have their own thoughts and opinions, and maybe they would love to connect with you as well. What would be the easiest medium?
Well, there'll be that PDF in the show notes. And Lou Lachman, you can find me just about anywhere. But my website at the moment is energycounseling.co.uk. And there's two L's because it's a British
Okay.
spelling. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, super. So, listeners, what I'm going to do is I'll have all the details, all the links in the show notes. So, find them attached along with this episode on whichever platform you're listening to the Mindful Living podcast. And I believe, as we close, um, being present is not about forcing calm, and it is also not about fixing yourself. It is also not about doing mindfulness correctly. But I believe it's about presence is about listening, listening to your body, listening to the parts of us that learned to protect us when we had no other choice. And if this conversation stirred something in you, take that as information. It's not an instruction. You do not need to rush. You do not need to perform healing. You just need to stay curious and open. And Lou, thank you so much for this beautiful, reflective conversation and thought provoking as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Sana. It's been a joy to talk with you. Thank you so much.
And to all the listeners, thank you for spending this time with us on the Mindful Living. If this episode resonated, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Until next time, this is your host, Sana, signing off. Thank you.